Hey guys, and how about we watch Scrooge McDuck vs. Shovel Knight? Alright, so I don't think many of us were expecting this to be the next death battle. I'll be honest, I had literally no idea who Scrooge McDuck might face. And I don't have much to say about this because I wasn't around during the Scrooge McDuck era. I know about DuckTales, I know that he and Shovel Knight have similar gameplay, but other than that, I don't know if they have any similarities. I do know Shovel Knight's gameplay, but I haven't ever played it for myself, so I'm not sure about all of the gadgets he has, or what his motivations are, or whatever. And other than that, there's nothing else I normally talk about for characters. I don't know, I am having a hard time deciding who I think will win, but just for the sake of saying a name, I'm going to say Shovel Knight will win. It's hard for me because I know the Toon Force will help Scrooge out, but I don't know, I don't think it'll be enough. Shovel Knight's used to fighting. Scrooge McDuck usually just does it when he has to. I don't know, it's hard for me to say. Well, the outcome isn't up to me. It's up to these guys. And I might get it right, I might get it wrong. I don't know, but either way, let's start our show.
Some people adventure for wealth. For others, the wealth is in the adventure.
Either way, you'll be successful if you can bounce off your enemies' heads.
Like Scrooge McDuck, the wealthiest waterfowl to ever live.
And Shovel Knight, a shining example of the code of chivalry.
Chivalry.
Boomstick.
And it's our job to analyze
It's a play
their
on
weapons,
chivalry.
armor, and skills to find out who would win a death battle.
Let's see if they
In
tweaked it.
1867, Scrooge
Oh yeah,
McDuck
I can
was
tell
born
from
to
the
a
background
poor
already that
family
they
in
changed it a
Glasgow,
little bit.
Scotland. He grew up a relatively normal duckling until his 10th birthday.
Scrooge's father took him to see the remains of the old McDuck clan castle. See, their family wasn't always super poor, and Scrooge was inspired by the sight of their former glory. So the next day, he got a job and earned his first money ever. A dime.
Problem was, it was an American dime, and Scrooge was in Scotland. Naturally feeling pretty cheated, Scrooge swore he'd build his fortune by being, I quote, tougher than the toughies and sharper than the sharpies.
So he hopped over to
They
America
didn't
to
change it,
start his
actually.
quest for
I
wealth.
thought they did,
And
but
judging
nah.
by his money vault today, where he literally swims in gold, I'd say he did a pretty effing good job.
No obstacle was too difficult to keep him from fortune. By my
Oh, and
estimations,
also,
his
we get
entire net
Canadian
worth
pennies
today
all the
was
time
around
over here.
$300 quadrillion.
At least I see him.
Rich as he is, he's got to defend his treasure trove somehow. So this wealthy waterfowl's got more guns than I do. Not to mention the trusty cannons he has hidden around his manor.
What?
Nothing like some
Wait,
old-fashioned
why?
artillery for home
What's the
defense.
point?
Scrooge also has a number of unorthodox high-tech firearms.
Or as normal people call them, laser guns. My favorite is the one that can shoot through solid steel titanium. It's called the Burglar Stunner, but I'm pretty sure that'll do a hell of a lot more than stun you.
Well, my favorite would be Scrooge's Nutra-Friction and Anti-Inertia Rays. By removing a target's natural friction and inertia, these guns can turn a foe so slippery they can't grip anything, or take away all momentum from that foe's movement and weight. Without friction, a person will slide miles upon miles with no hope of stopping themselves. Without inertia, a cannonball will have even less impact than falling leaves, though it is important to note that these guns do not affect personal gravity.
Yeah, science and stuff.
That's an interesting
If I
weapon.
were him, I'd prefer the feel of one of his rifles or swords.
Or his signature sidearm, his trusty cane.
What's so special about a dusty old cane, you ask? Well, just look at the old quack go. Not every duck can turn their cane into both a club and a pogo stick.
Even when he's unarmed, Scrooge's thirst for wealth has pushed his body past many preconceived limits. He
Dang.
possesses incredible strength, speed, and durability.
Not to mention, the dude's got some serious huevos. One time when he was stuck in the savannah, he walked right up to a lion, beat it in a roaring match, and then just rode it all the way to town.
He's
What?
also a surprisingly skilled marksman.
Wait, what?
Like some sort of gun-toting Mr. Miyagi, he can shoot flies out of the air with perfect precision.
And he's no slouch with a blade. Apparently, Buffalo Bill taught him how to knife fight in, engine style. And now's a great time to remind you that Scrooge is pretty old. It was a different time.
Racism aside, it takes a lot to put this mighty mallard down. He survived the Titanic sinking, being frozen solid in the Yukon, fighting hordes of wild animals, and taking a cannon shot to the face before being dragged through a minefield.
Yeah.
He's even
Like I
survived
said,
a trip
Toon
to
Force.
the literal center of the Earth, which, if you've forgotten, is pretty much super lava.
That's putting it mildly. The Earth's core is estimated to be well over 9,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
More than hot enough to cook your goose.
He's outrun a cheetah, which can reach 75 miles per hour. He's stopped a charging water buffalo, which can weigh up to 2,600
Yeah, Scrooge McDuck
pounds.
is probably going to
Did you
win.
ever hear that legend where George Washington threw a silver dollar across the Potomac River? Well, Scrooge can do that too. And he even caught the coin on the other side. Because Scrooge isn't gonna waste a single dollar.
Seems pretty impressive, but Scrooge has some massively problematic flaws. Least of all is his age. He's 150 years old. That won't do him any favors.
Wait,
in a fight.
150?
And why can't he fly? I mean, he's a duck with his own private plane, and he has human teeth, and they really should just hire a poultry scientist at Disney. Oh, I'll send my resume.
Well, more
Oh yeah,
importantly
poultry
would be
science.
his
Forgot he
overpowering
had
greed.
his degree
he
in
can
that.
often lose sight of his goals or explode into an uncontrollable rage if someone threatens his wealth.
He is pretty selfish and has a one-track mind. I don't know if the uncontrollable rage part, though, is such a bad thing.
Certainly not in some situations.
So yeah, I
Like
think
the
they
time
tweaked
Soapy
the
Slick tried
background
to
a
rip
little bit.
Scrooge off,
I see a
steal
lot
his
more
property,
fire, and that
humiliate
makes
him
it a
by
lot
chaining him to a
more
steamboat
bearable
and
for
making
me.
fun of his letters from home, including one informing Scrooge of his mother's passing.
That's more than enough to piss Scrooge off. So much that he literally tore the entire boat apart with his bare
What?
hands. Or wings. Holy damn, that's some real foul strength.
Just goes to show that nothing can stand between Scrooge and his wealth.
I don't know which was wilder in those days, the wolves or me.
What?
A long time ago, the world was wild, and adventurers roamed the land. The most famous of whom were partners Shield Knight and Shovel Knight.
You can tell how good they are by the giant piles of loot behind them.
Yeah.
Shovel Knight and Shield Knight traveled together, and they were the stuff of legend. That is, until the Tower of Fate.
Once inside, a cursed amulet knocked Shovel Knight out cold. When he woke up, Shield Knight was gone and the tower was sealed shut. And boy, did that bum him out.
Huh.
So, like all depressed heroes, he abandoned everything and went to the wilderness to do a bunch of farming and most likely drinking.
Soon after he retired, an evil woman called the Enchantress
Once
took
fought a
power,
man
along
whose
with a
power
group of
comes from
enormous
hats?
knights
How is
known
that
as the
relevant?
Order of No Quarter. Get it? It's funny. So maybe retiring wasn't the most responsible idea.
Man's gotta mourn, Wiz. Man's gotta mourn.
You mean like when you took a week off to mourn after your divorce? Because I'm pretty sure all you did was get drunk and shoot fireworks at my house.
Ah, yeah. Man, that was a real good mourn. Well, anyway, Shovel Knight's break didn't last long. After the Enchantress and her knights took hold of the land, the Tower of Fate unsealed.
Huh.
Knowing it was his only chance to find out what happened to Shield Knight, he dug back into action. And with him, he took his mightiest weapon. A shovel.
Don't sell it short. It's not just any shovel, it's a shovel blade. And thanks to its surprisingly versatile nature, it can slash through anything from rats to...
Holy crap! Did he just kill a dragon with that thing?
Yes, he did.
That reminds me of the time I made my own weapon out of a yard tool. I miss my rake blade, but everyone got really confused and offended whenever I yelled my catchphrase, "Prepare to get raked!" So I stopped using it.
Oh. Oh. Smart.
I'm not
Well,
going
thanks
to
the
comment.
Shovel Blade's unique attributes, Shovel Knight has a repertoire of deadly attacks. His signature
You know,
being
something
the
I
shovel
do realize
This deadly downward
is
drop allows
Shovel
him
Knight
to dig
has
into his enemies,
beaten
pogo stick
more
style.
notable
Now, where Have I
opponents.
seen that before?
He also has a charge attack that, when unleashed, does massive damage and can even penetrate armor. If his enemy is more than a scoop's reach away, he can strike the earth to fire a dangerous spark that travels along the ground.
You know what else it's good for? Digging up all of that sweet, sweet treasure.
But the Shovel Blade is far from his only weapon. Throughout his journey, Shovel Knight has acquired many magical relics, which are quite handy in battle, though they do require access to a limited supply of magic to use.
He can set stuff on fire with the flare wand, or punch through compact dirt with the dust knuckles.
He can also take the wind out of his enemies with the throwing anchor, or fly a short distance with the propeller dagger.
If Shovel Knight needs to kill bad guys in those hard-to-reach spaces, he has his trusty Chaos Orb, which acts like a bouncy ball of doom.
He also possesses the Mobile Gear, a mechanism which allows him to traverse dangerous terrain such as spikes and small gaps with ease.
Mobile Gear.
Mobile
But my
Gear.
favorite relic is the War Horn, which is kind of like the Horn of Gondor, but it makes people explode.
Shovel Knight carries a few defensive relics as well.
Yeah, like those sweet fish goblets.
You mean the Truple Chalices. These special liquid receptacles can carry ichors, substances which, when drunk, provide certain benefits to Shovel Knight. Most notably, the Ichor of Renewal, which fully restores his health and magic.
Ooh.
And how do you get such a useful liquid? From a bunch of fish that perform an interpretive dance and spit in your cup. It's dinner and a show.
Last but not least is the Phase Locket. This relic allows Shovel Knight to pass through his enemies and even grants him temporary invincibility while under its effect.
Like all good knights, our shovel-wielding friend protects himself with a suit of shining armor. Actually, he's got a few of them.
His most capable all-around set is the Dynamo Mail. Along with providing the kind of defense you need for fighting the forces of evil, it has an added bonus. Hitting just about anything with his shovel drop builds up a powerful charge attack.
Normally, a large suit of armor comes with a lot of extra weight, but Shovel Knight doesn't let that slow him down.
Even in full plate, our delving hero seemingly never tires and is agile enough to dodge everything from cannonballs to fireballs.
Actually, the weight is more of a bonus since his attack of choice is bouncing on heads. Whiz math then.
On it, comparing his height to these doors, Shovel Knight appears to be about 4 feet 6 inches tall. Given his broad physique, he likely weighs approximately 100 pounds at most. In the 14th century, a knight's plate armor for combat typically weighed about 60 pounds. Scaling to Shovel Knight's height, his armor likely weighs 50 pounds. Including the 5-pound shovel, he must drop with a force of over 6,700 joules of kinetic energy.
Why?
In comparison, Mike Tyson can punch with up to 1,600 joules and has knocked out 44 people in the ring. And Shovel Knight's striking power is over 4 times
That's such a
stronger than
weird
that.
thing to
Good
math.
job. No wonder Shovel Knight was able to take down the entire Order of No Quarter, including a giant steampunk mech and the Enchantress herself.
He's also stubborn enough to hold his breath underwater for an impressively indefinite amount of time. And he even held his own against the Battletoads and Kratos, the upcoming god of war.
What the hell? Really? That's awesome. If you sell enough games, you can get anybody.
But even after all that, Shovel Knight doesn't seem the most intelligent warrior. After all, the only reason he gave up on Shield Knight for so long is because he just assumed she was dead.
Still, he's one deadly
I mean,
warrior
at the
who
same
isn't afraid
time,
to put
there
his
was no
enemies
way
6
into the
feet
tower.
under. You know, because he digs holes and stuff.
All right, the combatants are set. Let's end this debate once and for all.
But first, I've got some free food for you.
Okay, let's see.
Now,
I
man
do
who likes a good
think-
home-cooked meal,
I don't know.
but going
I'm going
out
to say
buy
Shovel
or hunt
Knight
my
at
own
this
food
point.
is a hassle. If only there was some way food
But-
could be brought straight to me.
Scrooge
Good news,
McDuck has a
Boomstick,
lot
introducing
of
Blue Apron, the number one
speed
fresh food
feats. I
delivery
think that's
service
what
in
it
the
is.
country.
Scrooge McDuck is
Using only the
much
freshest
faster.
ingredients, Blue Apron
Shovel
delivers a
Knight
kit of
has
ready-to-cook
killed
meals
more
straight to
impressive
your door,
things,
along with
which
easy-to-follow
means
instructions.
you
Plus,
can,
the
in a
ingredients
way,
are
scale
perfectly
him
proportioned, so it
to
cuts down
those
on waste,
impressive
and you know
beasts.
you're using the right amount. On top of that, you can log into their website and select the upcoming meals.
Also, why
that
have they
sound good
only
to
been
you, like the
advertising
spicy
Blue
shrimp
Apron?
coconut curry with
Recently,
cabbage
they've
and
only
rice.
been
Plus, it does
advertising
feel
for
rewarding
Blue
cooking
Apron.
new and
It's kind of
exciting
weird.
meals right in your own home. But don't just take our word for it. We want you to try it.
Because you're watching Death Battle, you can get 3 meals free. With
I mean,
free
having
shipping
a
by
sponsor
heading to
is good, but,
blueapron.com
like, why Blue
/battle.
Apron?
Seriously,
Why-
you will
why
love
does
how
Blue
good it
Apron
feels
like
and
Death Battle so
tastes to
much?
create incredible home-cooked meals with Blue Apron. So don't wait. That's blueapron.com /battle.
But right now, it's time for a Death Battle!
Alright, let's see this. Here we go. It's probably gonna be a bit difficult to make things out. I'll try my best. They're a very small amount of pixels. Cannon? No, he's just throwing stuff at him. Now there's a cannon. What? Alright, simple background now. It should be easier to make out. Alright, it's hard to tell when anything is happening. Like, I can't tell who's winning at the moment. I have to say Shovel Knight now because, you know, blood. Oh god. Yeah, when you run out of friction, nothing more you can do.
KO! Damn, that's cold! With his own weapon!
Shovel Knight might have been able to uphold the code of chivalry, but he could not hold up to Scrooge's wealth of experience and superior strength.
Yeah.
Aside from the extra 100+ years of experience he's got over Shovel Knight, Scrooge's feats blew him out of the water. For example, there's no way that Shovel could have put him down very quickly when he's powered through a minefield like it's nothing.
And remember how he threw a coin across the Potomac River and rode across fast enough to catch it? Well, we know the average width of the river is 1,300 feet, and he threw the coin at an angle of 20 degrees. After some quick calculations, this means he must have thrown the coin, boarded his boat, rowed across the entire river, and exited the boat to catch the coin in less than 5.4 seconds. This means he must have been rowing the boat at speeds well over 164 miles per hour.
Jesus, how fast are his arms moving there?
To make all that work, at least 14,400 rotations per minute.
That's ducking awesome!
He is strong enough to rip apart a steamboat after all. But regardless of Scrooge's power, Shovel Knight had very little options to defend against the Duck's wackier, physics-breaking weapons.
Yeah.
Those that could buy him some time could only last for so long due to his limited supply of magic.
Plus, Scrooge has fought knights and magicians before, while Shovel Knight never fought anyone quite like Scrooge McDuck. Looks like Shovel Knight dug his own grave.
The winner is Scrooge
Alright,
McDuck.
I'm more interested just to see who's next. Like, that was meh
Next time
for me.
on Death Battle.
Spider-Man. Or, no. No, that's not Spider-Man. Venom. Ooh, Venom is an interesting one. I'm looking forward to that. I'm just not sure.
Next time we've got Venom from Marvel. But who's he going to be fighting? You can stick to our social media. We'll be announcing it very shortly.
And you could have watched this death battle early and all our videos early, plus like merch discounts and a bunch of great stuff by becoming a first member.
So yeah,
It's free to try, so click
I
the link
guess
in the
I'll
description
talk
below.
about all of
Have a
the
day.
stuff that happened
Thanks for
here.
watching, guys. Yeah.
So, one thing I want to say really quick is Venom, I'm not sure who exactly he would fight, but I do like myself some Venom, so I guess I'm looking forward to whoever he's fighting, or looking forward to seeing him in a fight, no matter who he's up against. And other than that, I don't really have much to talk about. Again, this death battle was kind of just meh for me. I didn't have any attachment to either of the characters, so it didn't matter that much to me who won. Shovel Knight seems cooler, but at the same time, Scrooge McDuck is much more interesting. And yeah, like I said, Toon Force kind of helped him out there. Like I said, Shovel Knight killed more impressive monsters, but Scrooge McDuck's feats are still better. Alright, so if you liked the video, be sure to leave a like. If you didn't like it, leave a dislike. I always appreciate honesty. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, then be sure to subscribe to the channel. Alright, see you in the next video.